morning from Hope Ridge Farm. This is Shannon. I thought it'd be kind of fun this morning to show you our good morning feeding routine. Oops, sorry, baby. And what we feed first thing in the morning, and sometimes this changes a little bit, but give you a good idea. Now, obviously, my filming skills are terrible for the most part, but but I thought this would be a good idea, and then explain to you what we feed and how we feed it, and you can see the dogs in action. Maverick, our other pitty that's here, is not with us this morning because he's too lazy to get up and come to breakfast, so he'll get fed later. But I wanted to show you kind of what we do. Ignore my house coat. I find it very soothing to be able to wear my house coat out to the barn in the mornings, and it is a little chilly. So we come in the barn in the morning for feeding, and okay, I apologize. I had to move closer to the door. I hope the connection out here doesn't get too bad. All right, so here we are, and I'll do the best I can to. So we just came in the barn. Look, Timber and Bogo, ready for breakfast. Ready to eat? Are you ready to eat? All right, let's go. There's Tuxie already waiting for breakfast. So typically what we do, there's Braylee, she's already in her little kennel there. That's where she goes every day, waiting for breakfast. You think these dogs were starving. So typically I tell them to get in their kennel. Go ahead, get in your kennel. And typically Timber goes over here. Get in your kennel. Good girl. Good. All right, Tux, pick a kennel. Oh, stretch it out. Morning stretches still. All right, buddy, where are you going? So he's going to go in that kennel. And typically, good boy, just out of routine. Sit. Good boy. Just stay there. Typically, out of routine, they pick the same kennel. Timber always likes to go in that one over there. Tuxie usually, if Maverick's here, he'll go in this one usually. Tuxie actually likes the cage kennel, the crate, but today he picked that one. And then we'll put Bogo in. Bogo doesn't, easy baby, doesn't really go on his own. I mean, he goes in, but he doesn't know where to go exactly. There you go, buddy. He goes in there. I'm going to shut his door because he tends to come out a lot. Okay. So, let me see if okay, so this is what we have this morning. We have our meds out and some pre-made food that I make for Bogo. We have our eggs. I have already put all the kibble in most of the food in the bowls. This is Bogo's bowl because Bogo needs a very big bowl to get his face down in there, and his teeth are very sore, I think, or at least old, so he needs more space. And this other big bowl, that's my morning coffee. His other big bowl is Tuxie's because he's got such a big head, so we just gave him a big bowl. Braylee gets a slow feeder. This will be Timber's. She used to be on a slow feeder, but she's doing much better, not just gulping down her food, so she gets a little pan. This will be Maverick's. We'll go ahead and make it, and we'll stick it back in our little fridge over here so that he can have it when he does decide to get up. So each dog gets, let me see how I can do this. Each dog will get an egg. Well, let's start with this. Let's start with, I already put the kibble in, and then we add water to the kibble. So interesting thing about kibble, when it was kind of created as a convenience for people with dogs. I can't remember what year it was. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, so it's dehydrated food, and we all know that kibble is not the best thing for dogs, but it's not terrible, and it is convenient. However, it is dehydrated, so you should always add water to your kibble to rehydrate. It's just like adding, having dehydrated food. So water should be added to it to rehydrate it. Then we add our eggs. Everybody gets an egg. Bogo has decided he doesn't. I'm not good with the one-hand egg thing, so ignore my mess. Everybody gets a raw egg in the morning, and raw eggs are super high in protein. So typically if you have, I would chickens and have raw eggs, or eggs from your chickens, those are way better than store-bought eggs. I am not taking on chickens. I have actually thought about it. We go through eggs like crazy, but there's just no way I'm taking on chickens. Oh, I did that one pretty good. That's a first. Huh. So we're not taking on chickens on top of the dogs and the horses. Uh-oh, somebody must be out front. I'll have to go check on that. Let's see. Yeah, not bad. So what I don't do is I don't shut their kennel doors. And that's a training thing that I'm working on with them. Actually, they usually do very, very well unless they hear a noise out there. I don't lock them in their kennels. I want them to learn to stay with it. It's called a threshold training. You do it with regular doors and things like that. And I expect them to stay, obviously, in wherever I put them without a door being closed. I think the garbage people are out front, so my little alarm system here, my little ADT is what I call her, took off barking, so obviously all the dogs went with her. Braley, come. Kennel. Good girl. Stay. Stay. Come on, Tux, get back in your kennel. No. I think the garbage people are out front, which is the problem. So, typically... Come on, Tuxers. Where'd Timber go? Yeah. Little distraction this morning. Okay, come on, Tuxers. Come on, buddy. Where's Timber? She's still out there with the garbage people? So as always, everything's always a work in progress. Come on. And training takes time. In your kennel. Good boy. Sit. Good job. Stay. And Timber will come back when she's done scoping out the property. Oh, there's your... Hey, Timber. Where are you going? There's nobody here. It's the garbage people. Come on. Get back in your kennel. Go. Good girl. Good girl. Stay. All right. So everybody has high protein. They have their egg. I also add omega-3 fish oil through research, and my vet had said that this is one of the better brands. There's a lot of fish oils out there on the market that are not quite as good. So every dog gets fish oil in the morning. They get a dab of, this is just raw honey. They get a dab of raw honey because it's a very good natural antibiotic. Keeps them from getting sick. So they each get a little dab of that. Now you'll see Bogo has not have anything in his yet. He is not used to this yet, so I am not giving it to him yet. He's, I won't say a strict diet. Sorry, I had to correct. Come here, little Missy. Okay. She wants to go back out. Go. Sit and stay. She still hears people out there. And the farmers are doing the fields right now, so she hears that as well. Okay, so then we have the fish oil. Then we do Greek yogurt. Good. It has the acidophilus in it. It's really good for their gut health. So they each get a scoop of Greek yogurt in their breakfast. I'll get yogurt. And sometimes Bogo gets the yogurt. Bogo's a little finicky. They also get pumpkin, which is really good for digestion. I apologize, my filming. So they all get a scoop of pumpkin. And this is pure pumpkin. You cannot use pumpkin pie filling. It has to be pure pumpkin. I buy it the big cans, so I stuck it in this old yogurt one because of the big can. So they each get some pumpkin. And Bogo has not decided he likes pumpkin. What he does like is cottage cheese. Okay. So see, they're still, they're still, they hear noises. I bet the farmers are out there starting. Good girl, you stay. You stay. It's not a choice. Good girl, stay. Doesn't she so funny? Stay. Good boy, Tuxers. Are you staying? Good job. Good job. Okay. I did shut my little ADT system over there, her kennel door, so she quit stirring up the pot. We also call her a little pot stirrer. Okay, so egg, Greek yogurt, raw pumpkin, raw honey, fish oil. Kibble with water. That's typically looks like morning. So for BOGO, what I have to do is somebody when I had first posted BOGO and was asking about the food and feeding him, and I was trying all these new things, somebody had said to me, like, just try dog food. Like, you know, maybe he's not used to people food, just try the dog food. So I did. And that's what worked with him. So I'm assuming he'd never had people food before. So I pre-make his, it is Royal Canin puppy food. And the reason I do puppy, it's much higher in fat, and the ingredients and stuff in it are, you know, just a higher level of fat and proteins for puppies. So he gets Royal Canin. It's wet down, and then he loves the soft food, and somebody suggested the soft food as well to encourage him to eat. So that's what he gets. And I usually just prep it because it's time consuming to open the cans and things like that. And then mash it all up for him. Which, I mean, this is a pretty good amount, and he'll probably eat the whole thing. Now, BOGO tends to eat less in the morning, and then throughout the day, he'll eat more and more. But just plain dog food for him. And he's not, he has taken a couple raw eggs. And he's getting used to some new ingredients. But I'm not going to do that this morning for him, because I do want him to eat. Sometimes if he has a new ingredient, then he doesn't eat. And I don't want, right now he's eating really well with stuff. He's starting to put on some weight. And so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because it's working for him until he gets on some weight. And then we can certainly add to and worry about some of the other stuff. So we'll feed. We'll just do one at a time because obviously the camera and my hands are full. All right, baby. And typically, like I said, this is not closed, but I don't know what's going on outside today. There you go, sweetness. So she'll stay in there and eat. Now, what we are working on, because everything's a training opportunity, is when she's done, I would like for her to stay in her kennel and not come out with the door open. I don't know if that's going to work. That's new, and she, you know, they're already kind of a little bit stirred up due to whatever noises are going on out there. So BOGO, here, buddy. And for BOGO, I have an extra, come on, sweetness. For BOGO, I have an extra bucket in here, and I set this on the bucket because I did notice it was hard for him and his shoulders, probably his arthritis, like putting all the way down to the ground. And so, easy, baby. Easy, good boy. Putting, you know, the weight on his shoulders to go down to the ground. So his, I raised up a little bit. But you can see whoever's grand idea was just to use dog food. He loves it, and he's doing well with it. Okay, Timber and Tuxie. Let's do this with Timber. Hi, baby. And she has to wait for it because that's what I want her to do. Look at me. Good girl. Sweetness. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. So she has to wait for it because I think that's good manners. And if she's going to be adopted, that's good manners. And then Tux. Go back and grab his big bowl. Now for their evening meal, they get all different stuff. Like last night they had salmon and green beans and Tuxie, sit. Good boys. So, see how he got up? All I do is pick up the bowl until he did what I expect him to do. You wait. So he got up. Sit. There. That's a good boy. That's what I expected. All right, now you can eat. So obviously my goal is to get them, or what I'm working on with training, is to get them to stay in their kennels after they finish with the doors open. Because what they want to do is come out and scope things. But I do want to show you too, which has been happening, food aggression. We work on food aggression a lot. So of all the pups, I would think Timber would be the one that would be like a little bit more guarded and territorial over her food. So she's finishing up, and I'm gonna ask her to stay when she's done. I'll show you how we do this if she doesn't try to come out. So I just told her no. Really, look at me. Stay. Stay. We'll see how this goes this morning. Stay. Now, if she stays, I'll reward her. And I have treats over here. I just reward for following directions. Timber usually doesn't come out of her kennel at all. Come here, baby. Let's move that over there so it quits sliding around. This door's open. Now, Tuxie tends to wander out. But he tends to actually wander out and then go into Timber's, and Timber does actually really well. I'm just going to close these up to keep. Did you eat all your food, Bogo? And he ate everything. Fantastic. Good job. And then Bogo will eat 3 or 4 times a day. I will, I guess switch that around. Bogo will eat, I'll bring him out to the barn and eat 3 or 4 times a day because we're just trying to put added weight on him, and because he is eating well, he'll get small amounts throughout the day, 3 or 4 times to add some weight on there. Good girl. So Braylee's still staying, so good girl, which is what we're working on. See if I can get this open with one hand. So she'll just get a little treat for staying. Good girl, you stay. Reminder, the command that I want is I want her to stay. She gets rewarded for staying. We don't do training really with Bogo yet. I don't know. He's such a good boy, and not that you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Get in your kennel. She's usually my best one. Stay. You're not. Let's see how this goes. And it does take time. So obviously I've had to stay. Good boy. Stay. Good girl. Typically she will just go back to her bed and lay down. But of course on the days that we're videoing, she wants to be ornery this morning. But I think true with her, whatever's going on outside just got her stirred up a little bit. Good girl, you stay. So she's staying. I'm going to reward her for staying. Good girl. You get her bowl. I'm going to tell her again that I expect her to stay. Good girl. Stay. Good job. Braylee's still staying. So what I'm going to do this time, just to add distraction because you practice and then you add more things to it. So I'm going to tell her stay. I'm going to take her bowl. Typically, after I take their bowl, they're allowed out. Taxi, you stay. Back up. Back up. And stay. So I told him I expect him to stay in there. Good boy. He gets, stay. So this is all kind of pretty new. Good girl, stay. I'm going to take her bowl. Typically when I take their bowls, they think they can come out because that's kind of been the routine, so we're changing it up. I expect her to stay. Good girl, stay. Constant reminders. Good puppies. Good puppies. And the longer they stay, I just kind of keep reinforcing that this is exactly what I want them to do. Good boy. I'll take his bowl. And I'm going to remind him again, stay. Even though I'm taking your bowl, I want you to stay. Good boy. I know. Good puppies. So as long as they're staying and I'm moving around and just reinforcing stay for them, because like I said, this is kind of up. So as soon as he crosses the threshold, back up. Tux. He hates. You want to go in this one? You have to go back in and stay. So, good boy. Go on. I dropped my treat. He gets it anyways. It's in his kennel. Good. Tuxie, sit. Good boy. I need you to stay. Stay. Sorry about my hand. I'm trying to give him a hand signal. So they're actually doing pretty good because I've picked up their bowls. They are all still on a stay, which is pretty new for them. Again, normally they would have been out by now, and of course they want to get out and scope around, see if Bogo dropped any of his food. Tuxie, stay. Good. Good boy. And I'm going to reward Timber for just sitting and staying like a good girl. Good job, Timber. And eventually what will happen is this will get longer. And so, you know, maybe while I wash up the dishes after breakfast and put all my stuff away, they will still be on a stay. And I'm going to just kind of move the stuff around, move it towards the fridge, only because I want them to stay a little bit longer. I'm going to cover this up, keep the flies out of it for Maverick, his breakfast. And then I'm going to wash these dishes up. So we're still on a stay. Good puppies, stay. I'm just constantly reminding them, you know, constantly reminding, constantly rewarding them that this is what I want them to do. Doors are open. Good girl. Good boy. Good girl. I'll see if Bogo can. He actually does take these little treats. Hi, Bogo. You want a treat because you're staying, being such a good boy? I know your door's shut. There you go. Try it. There you go. But like one thing I don't tolerate, and I shouldn't say tolerate, is like the crazy barking and stuff at feeding time, because that can cause anxiousness and lead to fighting and things like that. So this just teaches them they have to be calm. Let's get some water. They have to be calm. They have to be respectful of each other. And that includes me. I mean, if I'm trying to work around here and I've got things going on. Now, if something, you know, somebody showed up in my driveway, which they can't because it's gated, but if, you know, let's say somebody did, they'd all be out of here in a hot minute because my little pot stirrer over there runs out, and then Timber joins, and then Tuxie tries to join and thinks he knows. Good boy. So he sat back down. Good job, Tux. You know, so this is they're doing really good, but the distraction is pretty minimal here. If my daughter walked through the door, or Maverick walked through the door right now, they would not be staying. So you do things in small increments. I would not expect that. I would hope they would stay, but they probably wouldn't, because this is brand new training for them with staying after they are done eating. But they're doing fantastic. Good girl. So that's how you train, and you start to train for like a stay. She just heard movement. You can see she's, and for her, anytime that she stays and there is activity, is huge, because normally she is super reactive to the noises. She's been on the farm the longest. She is the little guard dog, I guess. Well, she doesn't guard anything. She just alerts to everybody, to any noises and stuff like that. Good girl. So I'm just rewarding her because I know she heard something. I saw it. I didn't hear it, but she did, and she stayed. And if I can get her, typically if I can get her under control as far as the the running off and barking, then I can obviously control these guys. Because they follow suit. And good boy, he's actually staying a really long time for him because typically he crosses the threshold. Good girl. She's decided she's just going to lay down and wait it out. So, good job today on... All right, Briley. Free. Come on. Free. Good. Free, Tux. Come on, you can come out. Good job. Good job. Oh, stretch it out, big boy. Stretch it out. Yeah. Stretch it out. Thank you. Kisses. Kisses. Timber's going to go off to play. We'll let Bug go out. Braylee, they love the checkout boys. Hey, no, you're not doing that. No, you're not doing that. So she wants to she went back in her kennel. So Bogo, they all want to get into Bogo's cage to see what he dropped. Good job, Bogo. You did good this morning, buddy. You worked really hard. Good job. But Bogo usually leaves some scraps laying around. And so they want to go in there and see, she knows I have his bowl. She's like, let me clean it up. But no. I don't do that either. I don't let them eat out of each other's bowls or anything like that. See, Tuxie's going to go in and clean up. Tux, out. Hey, come on. Out. I don't even want them learning to go in there. Good boy. Go outside. And the beagle just can't stand it. She's like, I'll go back in my kennel and sit and wait until I'm allowed to go into Bogo's kennel. And during the day, I don't mind. Any dog can go into any kennel. It doesn't matter to me. But during feeding time, I don't allow it. And she knows it. That's why she's sitting there in her kennel being good. It was just Bogo tripping. Hey, it was just Bogo. So she's super food motivated. She's like, I haven't told her to stay there. And she hears the noises, which is just Timber and Bogo. But she knows. Okay, that lick. See that little lick? 3 licks. She's telling him to get away. 3 quick licks. She's saying, get away. Bogo's kennel is going to become open, and I want to get in there. This is how they're communicating. So she knows I require her sit-stay on a kennel. So she's like, I'm going to do that lick. Okay, sorry, I always have to move towards the window. So this is how smart dogs are, even beagles. She knows that I require sit-stay in a kennel. That's what I like. So she's like, I'm going to do that. And that might earn me a free trip to Bogo's kennel to clean up. But now that all the dogs are outside, there's nobody else in here. So here's what I don't want to happen is her to run into the kennel. I have 3. All right, I apologize. I can see I get Wi-Fi. Here's what I don't want to happen is if I let her out, if I release her and let her go into Bogo's kennel to clean up, and I have other dogs in this kennel, they want to go in there, and then you have 3 or 4 dogs in there, there's food, and it's a small space, and you're just asking for a dog fight. So when I say respect the environment, this is what I'm talking about. I have no other dogs in here now. Everybody's gone off to play outside in the farm. She is patiently waiting. She's doing exactly what I would expect her to do. If she wants something from me, she needs to be in her kennel, door open, and at a stay. That's what we're training. So that's what she's doing. She's like, if I get back in my kennel and I lay down and I stay, she's respecting me. That's what I expect. So she's respecting me. She's hoping that I will release her to go clean up Bogo's kennel. Now, he doesn't have much on the floor today or anything like that. But that's what she's hoping for, and she's being respectful. Okay, so Timber just walked in. She's like, where you going? Where are you guys at? We normally go for a morning walkabout. She says, hello, watch the 3 licks. She'll probably do the 3 licks. She may not do it with Timber. But I'm not going to let Timber in that kennel either. So see, Timber's looking at the kennel. She's like, who gets to go clean up after Bogo? She's thinking about it. But I'm not going to let Timber do it either. Because that caused, So I just said, nope. She doesn't get to do it. When Timber leaves again, or she goes into her far kennel where she wants to go, because Timber will go in there and lay, hoping because that's what they understand, that when they're in here, if they want something from me, here comes Bogo. They're used to our morning walk. I'm not usually see her sniff them. That's just sniffing. They're still, even though they don't really bother each other, but they don't really nose to nose or sniff either. There's Bogo. Okay. So they have to come in here and be respectful of me as well. So what I expect is them to be in a kennel when they come in and they want something. Now, do we walk through this kennel 100 times a day? Yes. Do I expect that all the time? Absolutely not. But if Braylee wants something from me, she tells me by saying, okay, I'm going to go get my kennel, I'm going to lay down, and I'm going to wait. And I'm going to wait till, like, Mom understands what I want. And, of course, she's beelining this kennel. She's looking directly at it. She wants me to release her. There's no other dogs in here. There's Bogo. He'll probably go back out here in a second. Yep. So he just comes running through, checking to see where I was at. So I will release her. Braylee, free. And then she'll go over and probably go right into his kennel, wants to sniff around. Not much in there, huh? Not much left over. Good girl. And this one, she loves to go scope out and see what other the dogs have left behind. However, anytime you have any breed, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be the pit bulls. It doesn't have to be any breed. That kind of behavior will cause an argument with a dog in a minute. Because if a dog was in a kennel, or even if there were 4 dogs in here and they all wanted to find that last little piece that fell on the floor, that can easily cause a dog fight. And even with dogs that are, typically good dogs, that aren't even food aggressive. And I do another whole training on, we do find it, and they have to learn to, find kibble. It's a good activity for mind stimulation. And they have to learn to get along while finding the food. We do that whole thing too. But I apologize. I was just talking and thinking and staring at that post. And we do all of that too, and that's part of the training. Timber has not done that training yet, although I think she's ready for it because her and Tuxie were eating together yesterday. So she's scoping things out. But if you have the wrong dog in here, another dog that says, hey, I'm getting that last piece of kibble, that can end up in a dog fight. And that's what I'm talking about, respecting your environment, understanding your environment. I don't want other dogs in here. I can't just turn 4 dogs loose and assume they're going to all get along. Hi, baby. Is your tummy full? So respecting the environment, respecting the dog. Your tummy full? Hi, sweetness. Yeah. And respecting your dog. If Timber or any dog was in their kennel eating, it's very rude for another dog to come in and try to take his food. So she's still scoping and cleaning things out. And I'm currently fine with that because she sat and she waited in her kennel at a stay with the door open like I expected, and no other dogs are in here. Bogo's in here. He's not a threat. But all the other dogs are out. And so there's no chance of them coming in and fighting with her or her causing an argument either. I hope that makes kind of sense. But that I wanted to point out the respecting the environment, making sure the environment's appropriate to avoid a dog fight, and respecting your dogs. I mean, no dog wants another dog coming in. They have to respect me by staying in their kennels, working on keeping the door open during feeding time. Now could I take Timber, Tuxie, and Braylee and put all of their food and Maverick on the ground and feed them together in my kitchen? Yes. Yes, I could, because they all know stay, they all know wait, they all know leave it, they all know commands, and you teach them to be respectful. Really what I'm working on here is threshold and patience. They have to learn to sit and wait for me to release them out of their kennel. So it's not even about them being kenneled as much as it is about them learning I need to wait until my leader says I can leave the kennel. And that transfers to any place. It could be a car. Like when I open a car door, I do not want to them crossing a threshold. So a threshold is any place. Threshold. In the kennel, out of the kennel. Threshold would be this doorway. This is my doorstop. So threshold. And when I go to work with people at, we teach threshold because if you open a door, you don't want your dog bolting out of the door. You have the mailman coming up and you open the door and out they go. And, I lost my dog. She ran out the door. You teach threshold. And the kennel is a threshold. So anywhere there is a threshold, you can work on that skill. So this is just another way of working on a skill that it's working on sit, it's working on stay, it's working on patience, it's working on respect, it's working on threshold. There's one little training activity covers so many things. Do we work on threshold in the house? Absolutely. My dogs, and I'm not going to say they never do it because my dogs certainly are not perfect by any means. But they have to work on threshold in the doorways of the house as well. They work on thresholds in the car. They work on any type of threshold. So training happens all day long. Look at my baby. He's got full tummy and now he's tired. And this is what he does. So Bogo's funny. He will only lay down in this barn or lay down in the house. He has not ever laid down outside on the grass, on the deck. But he will lay down in here. And he will lay down, like if I take him in the house, he just lays right down. But he's got a full tummy and now he's sleeping. And my other dogs are out on their morning walk. Isn't he handsome? Good boy. He's like, what are you doing? My buddy. Yeah, he's a good dog. I don't know what happened to him or why he was loose at this age. But he's a good boy. Okay. I am going to clean up my kitchen area here and wash all these dog bowls and move on with my day. And I hope that was somewhat helpful, that you could see how we work on threshold, kenneling. Obviously, I don't use my kennels. I think I've said this during the day. But we do use it for, actually, they're really good for just training. I mean, like training them threshold, training them respect, training them, environment stuff, training them to stay. I mean, they're really good for that kind of thing. Was this morning perfect? No. Are the dogs perfect? No. That's the way it is. Training, it always happens, and they just get better and better every time. I had a friend of mine tell me, actually, she had adopted Alan from the Stark County Dog Warden, and which became Gunner, which I ended up with. And she was telling me that she had a friend that works with police dogs, and they're police dogs, really well trained dogs. But if you take off the vest, they're just like any other dog. They make mistakes, and they're crazy, and they have the zoomies, and they have all this stuff. So for people to think that a dog is well trained every minute of every second of every day is like having children. They're not perfect all the time. They make mistakes, and they constantly need reinforcement and reteaching. So this is just using the kennels in the morning is just another way that they get their training in, parts of their training in for the day. And so every opportunity is an opportunity for training. And I try to tell people that, when I go to visit them, like, it's not even about giving them 10 minutes of on-leash training a day. That's fantastic. But every opportunity can be an opportunity to train your dog. It doesn't even take extra time because you're feeding them anyways. It doesn't take extra time because you're walking them anyways. So use every opportunity as a training opportunity. Respect them, make them respect you, and have them respect the environment. And you as well. Like, you should understand, like I understand Timber doesn't she has a little bit of trust issues. She's perfectly fine with people that she knows. She's fine with dogs that she knows. She doesn't like change. She doesn't like just a new dog showing up. She doesn't like strangers showing up. I understand that about her. I don't know what happened to her before she got to the shelter and before I brought her here. Can I train that out of her in time? 5 years from now, she might not care about who shows up. Like, she has to get used to that. She has to. So do I expose her to it? Yes. But do I respect the fact and understand the fact that that's how she is right now? And can I assume that 3 or 4 months after she leaves the shelter and who knows what happened to her before that I can train that out of her? Probably not. So it's going to take, that part of her training is going to take even more and more time, because I don't know, what causes that for her. But it's legit and it's real and I respect it. I always put her on a leash. You guys saw that when I brought Bogo home. She has to go on a leash. It's not because, I think that she probably would, attack a dog if they came on this property. I don't know. I haven't had that with her yet, because I respect the fact that I understand the fact that she does not like strangers, strange dogs or strange people. Once she knows them, once she understands them, there's a whole thing. And you saw pretty much with Bogo, you don't have to stare at me, I guess we can look at the dogs. Once she understands them, I'm going to mow today, then she does fine. Like, she's perfectly fine in a pack when she knows the dogs. But you saw it takes time. It takes a lot of time, and everything doesn't happen overnight. So my goal and my hope, obviously, for Timber is that she will get along with every dog and every person. But, the reality is do people do that? We have to all be respectful of each other. But do we all want, to be best friends with everybody, And she does pretty good. That female pitty that I had over the weekend, they've been together 3 times, and they currently do off leash together, but you have to be watching them all the time, because either one of them in a minute, they don't like each other. So, and it's been a lot of times. I said, give me, and part of the problem with that is the taking her away and bringing her back. So, when she comes to visit on the property, and we get them acclimated, but then she goes away, and then she comes back, and that's fine, because that's the way life is, and that's what happens. But for dogs, and I think I brought this up in another video, for aggressive dogs, is typically over time they will learn to adjust. You have the outliers, of course, that are just not going to do that. But typically over time and through proper introduction and respect of the environment, respect of them, all of that, they are going to adjust a little bit. But, Timber can be reactive every time she comes on the property. One, they don't like each other that well, both dominant females. So it's going to take a lot more work getting them used together. And also the fact that she leaves and comes back. Do I think Timber will ever go to a dog park and be a dog park dog? No. Would I ever recommend that? Absolutely not. I respect her way too much to take her to a dog park and put her in that position. First of all, a pit bull at a dog park, there are some really amazing pit bulls that are super dog friendly, and that's fine. But, and Maverick, my Maverick is one of them. He just fine at a dog park. But I was at a dog park with him years ago, and I went with a friend of mine who had a German Shepherd, and there was only a very few dogs when we first started out. And then more and more dogs came. So I kind of moved off to the far end of the dog park. And the more and more dogs came, I'm like, the very cognitive environment is. So I'm like, there's a lot of dogs up there by that gate where people are coming in, and, and so one lady yells down to me, I don't know, let him go. Like, he can come up here and play with these other dogs. And okay, no, No, number one, there's a lot of big dogs up there, and they're all like mauling each other and da 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 da. Now, do I think Maverick would do anything? No. But it would take 1 second. It would take 1 second for anything to happen, any kind of a dog fight, any kind of because he's a pit bull, he'd be to blame. So there's just absolutely no way that I'm putting him in that situation. I respect him way too much. So we just stayed down at the other end of the park. We played with the German Shepherd. A few other dogs meandered down there. He played with them. But if I let him up there and something happened with the other dogs we must have hit a time frame where people were getting off work and, just tons of dogs were coming in. And he would try to go up and see the dogs, and I would recall him. I'd say, like, no, you cannot go up there and see all those dogs. Because it would take a hot minute for somebody to blame the one pit bull in the park for a dog argument. And I respect him way too much. Like, I would not want him to be involved in that. First of all, dog fights they're just a nightmare altogether. And I respect him way too much. And him being a pit bull, obviously, in my opinion, and the German Shepherd that was with us, full-blooded German Shepherd, it would take a hot minute. And even dogs that don't fight, if there's one argument, it's like everybody joins in for the party. So, I respect him. And what I did is I ended up taking him out of the dog park. As soon as I was able to, kind of clear the path, I put a leash on him, I put him in a heel, and we walked out. And because I respect him too much to put him in a predicament that's going to get him into trouble. I don't want him in a dog fight, and I don't want him blamed for a dog fight. And it's just too much. Like, who wants to be mauled by like 10 dogs? I think that's terrible. And some dogs love to play. You've seen my dogs out here roughhousing. He roughhouses and he plays. But a dog park is not a good environment when there's more than 3 or 4 dogs. I never do more than 3 or 4 dogs, ever. It gets to be way too much. Sorry, Timber just ran out to the road. There was a bicycler going by. She saw him. Timber, come! Come! Good girl. Good girl. There she comes. Come on, baby. Good girl. Hi. Good girl. So anyways, I don't know how I got off on the tangent about the dog parks. I guess it was, it started with the feeding and fighting, I guess, and respecting their environment. So, and respecting them. So those are all 3 very important, assets to training. Don't put your dog in a position they're not ready for. I would never, ever, ever, ever consider taking Timber to a dog park. I don't consider taking her to any place public with a bunch of dogs. I already know how she is. And will she ever get there? Probably. I hope. I hope for her she gets there where she can be interactive with a bunch of other dogs. But I already know that is not her thing. Here comes Bogo. Hey, buddy. Hi. Come see me. Hi. Hi, Bogo. I already know it's not her thing. Am I going to put her in that position and set her up for failure? No. We want these dogs to be successful. When we work on confidence and stuff, success is a huge part of that, of them being successful. And putting them in bad positions and bad situations, that's not successful. That's failure. And a lot of times people get angry and mad and say that, they attacked or they did this or they did that. Well, my first question is, what was the environment like? What was the situation like? What kind of, how much did you respect what they were doing or that dog in particular? I had a lady just call me from the dog. Well, this was a while ago. Well, it happens. Let me just say this. It happens a lot. They rescue a dog and, this dog, and within 24 hours, it attacked another dog. I have so much to say about that. And I said, or doesn't get along with not my other dogs, because that we can work on. But I took it to a dog park. Okay, you don't know anything about that dog. You just got it. Like, spend the 3 weeks, 3 months, just getting to know your dog. Because those dogs, especially the ones that come from shelters, have been exposed in an environment that is, and I don't mean this rudely by any means, and those that know me know this, but it's not a healthy emotional environment for a dog. So there's a lot of activity, a lot of barking, a lot of squealing, a lot of things going on in a shelter that can really set a dog off. We don't, in our shelter, do not let them interact together. Like, we don't put them in play yards together and things like that, to avoid, because we don't know those. That's respecting a dog. I mean, like, yes, they want to play, but we don't know those dogs, and we don't know their triggers, and we are respecting the fact that they might not want to play. I mean, they might and they might not, but if a dog jumps on its back, we have no idea how that reaction is going to be. So until you know your dog and know them well, don't interact them with other dogs. Don't assume that they're going to want to play and be jumped on. Don't assume that they're going to get along with a brand new dog right out of the shelter. They have been separated for the most part, and I don't mean like isolated, but I mean they haven't interacted with another dog in so long that, I mean, fence to fence, yes, but like they have to, that's like just, I mean, honestly, that's like saying to people, go play. I don't know that person, like, go play with that person. I don't know anything about that person. What if he beats me up? What if he doesn't like me? What if 100 other reasons? Like, you can't just assume that the dog wants to do that. So we have to be respectful of the fact that, especially with our shelter dogs, who everybody knows are my heart, that might not be their thing. And we don't know what happened to them beforehand. We don't know what happened to them, what their environment was like or anything else. So to assume that they want to go play with a strange random dog, I don't understand the thinking. I know the thinking is. The thinking is that people feel bad. They're like, oh, I rescued this dog and he hasn't played in so long, I want him to go play. And I understand that thinking. But what I tell them is, there's our BOGO. What I tell them is you cannot rush it, because we don't know what that dog is like. We don't understand what he's been through. We don't know what he's been through. And even being at the shelter causes more reactivity, because there's so much reactivity at the shelter, and being around so many different dogs and things like that. So we cannot assume that just because he came out of a shelter and we feel sorry for him, that he wants to go play with a bunch of dogs. Like, he might not. And we have to respect the dog, and we have to respect the environment. Close environments in the house is another huge thing. Well, we brought 3 dogs over to the house to play with them. Yikes, because it's a close environment. Those dogs are already established in that environment. He's not established in that environment. He doesn't know these dogs. He didn't get along with them. He bit them. I took him over to see my neighbor's dog, and he bit it. Okay. Well, first of all, there's just so many things. Don't do that. Give him time. I'm sorry, you're staring at the grass. Give him time to adjust. Like, get to know your dog. Had I done that with Timber when, or now even still, and that can change, I would never put Timber in that predicament or that space. Just like I would never put Maverick in a space that he could get himself into trouble in. Should they get to know other dogs and learn to play with other dogs? Sure. Some dogs love that. Some dogs don't. Some people love that. Some people don't. Some kids love it. Some kids don't. So those are all important things about respecting your dog, respecting their environment, having them respect yours as well. So I know this got to be long and I can get on a tangent because there's just so much to say. However, thank you for watching. Again, questions, by all means. If I missed something, I'm just trying to be helpful. Thanks for having breakfast with us this morning, and enjoy your dogs.